Welcome to Friday with Friends. Friday with Friends is our opportunity to talk about the real estate market, answer any questions you may have, so that if you have any real estate needs, we would love the opportunity to be your realtor of choice.
Yes.
So, Abby, what are we talking about today?
Yes, so we have a very exciting topic today. Our title is New Year, New Market. Seller's Edition. So a lot of times you hear new year, new home, right? This time of year. But for a lot of people, it might be a new home, but the last time they went through a real estate transaction might have been 5, 10, 15 years ago. So we're talking to those people that are coming into this new crazy market and how it might be different from the last time they bought or sold a house.
Because the real estate market has been in the news. It has been crazy. And people are saying, okay, well, where is it now? And that's what we want to go through. So we're going to go through step by step, the steps that you should be taking if you are going to get in the market as a seller, to make sure that you're prepared, not just physically with your home, but you know what to expect emotionally and you know what to expect financially.
Exactly. Timelines are much different now. Expectations are much different now than maybe they were in the past. So we're here to get into all those details. And don't you worry, if you're also looking to buy a home, we have got that coming up on the next episode as well. So should we get into it?
Of course, we won't leave you buyers out too.
Of course.
All right, so number one, the first step that you should be doing if you have selling a home on your radar is connecting with your realtor. And this is always something where we have people saying, well, I don't know, I'm thinking about doing it. It is never too early to start to have that conversation.
Definitely. And as we go through, you'll see why it's never too early to start the process. It might be that you want to do some repairs on the home, or it might be that you're not quite sure what your timeline would be, or maybe you're looking to buy a new home and that new home could pop up at any second and you want to be ready. There's so many different reasons, but getting the ball rolling and starting early allows you to feel less stressed later on down the line.
And what this first contact means is sometimes it's a quick phone call, and it is a phone conversation that is 5 minutes that helps us direct you and point you in towards the right timeline. Sometimes it's a meeting in person, whatever your comfort level is, to be able to have you show us through the house and to be able to discuss some of the in-depth conversations that we're going to be highlighting and touching on today. But it doesn't have to be this, I'm finally calling my realtor.
Yes.
No, connect. It is never too early to at least start the conversation, and then we can guide you from there.
Definitely. And a lot of our clients, after we have this initial consultation or meeting, just feel like there's a weight lifted off their shoulders, because with a lot of sellers, they might think, gosh, we have so much to do and so little time. But really, when we are able to break it down and give goals, they're able to see what's the next step and make them feel much more comfortable with a weight lifted off their shoulders.
Yes.
So once you connect with your realtor at this meeting, the second step is educate on the market and really learn about this new market that we're in. So at our listing appointment, we'll go through all of that just so you're up to date on what's happening. Why is the market important? Not only to a buyer, but why is it important to you? So what are some new things we're seeing in this market?
So I'm sure you have heard that we have a lot of multiple offers, escalation clauses, crazy quick sales that have happened over the past few years. And we kept saying inventory can't get any lower, and then it did. And then we're like, inventory can't get any lower, and then it did. And so we have had such a strong seller's market that we're starting to see these things that we haven't seen. And even if you were in the market last year, this video is important to be able to help you see what you have coming for this year, because we're going to actually share some stats so that you're really able to get a picture of what the market as a whole looks like. And I think the disclaimer we always say is this is the market as a whole. You could be in a specific suburb that is on fire. You could be in an area of town that's a little bit slower, or a price point that's a little bit slower. And that's why having the conversation with your realtor is going to allow you to see how does this data actually work for you and your specific home and your neighborhood.
Definitely, because it can be different from area to area, neighborhood to neighborhood, price point to price point. So at this meeting where we're educating you on the market, we'll also go through those comparable sales with you, so you are really educated on what has sold recently and how does it impact the value of my house.
Yes. Okay, so let's start with some general high-level stats, Abby. Give me a stat that you kind of feels important to share to understand the market a little bit more.
Definitely. So let's first start with the list to sale price. So this is going to be the percentage of pricing when it comes to where it's listed to where it ultimately sells. So this year we were at a 105% list to sale price. That was in
means
2021.
it goes above sale price.
Yep, by 5%.
I'm sorry, it goes above list price by 5%.
By 5%. Now, on our team, to brag a little bit, we were at 111%. Now, just to give you an idea, in 2012, so let's talk 10 years ago, it was at 94.6% list to sale price. So on average, they were getting a little bit under the listed price.
Which is a normal real estate market. Right. And that's more of a balanced real estate market as opposed to a strong seller's market that we're in, which is why we're having those.
Yep, exactly. And speaking of that, that might be a good time to talk about an absorption rate and what that means. So you've probably heard us talk about this before. The absorption rate is how quickly a property is going to absorb or sell into the market. If the number is greater than 3, that means that we are in a buyer's market, meaning it typically takes more than 3 months. And if it's less than 3, that means we're in a seller's market. Right now, the absorption rate is currently 1.6 months. Back in 2012, to give you an idea, you want to guess?
No.
9.2 months. So you can see how both the sale price, the list to sale price, and the amount of time that it's taking to sell have definitely dramatically changed in the last 10 years.
And the reason why that is important is for you to understand timeline and for you to understand what is the best set, how you're going to be able to not just price your home, but also create the dominoes of what the whole process is going to look like. We believe the more educated you are, the more seamless of the process can be for you because you're making better decisions for you and your family. And so when we're getting down to how long we expect your home to stay on the market, these are important conversations that matter on so many levels.
Definitely.
Some other stats that we have pulled to is that the median sales price is up 11.5% year over year from 2021 to 2022. Last year, it was up 17% from 2020 to 2021 at the same time. So we know that prices are escalating and increasing and increasing. And there's some people who are saying, oh, they're going down, they're going down. They're still increasing. Yep. What you really only need 2 buyers competing for a house for it to go over list price. And we are still having that. We may not be having 20 offers in the market, but we are sure having at least 1 or 2 on majority of our properties, would you say?
Yes.
At least multiple offers that are happening that are driving that sales price up. So yes, we're not that 17% year over year, but we're still at that 11.5 year over year for median sales price. And average is 13.5 this year, and last year it was up 19.7%.
Yep, and that's a key, things that we've been saying for the last few years now is prices are up because the inventory of houses is lower. There's not a lot of listings on the market. That has been consistent for the last few years. When we talk through that absorption rate, that says it as well. New listings are down year over year right now, 3.5%. At this time last year, from 2020 to 2021, they were down 6%. So definitely we're continuing to see that trend happen. It might not be of as dramatic change as it was in 2020 to 2021, but we're seeing it stay consistent.
And I think that's the messaging that is the key, is that yes, last year was crazy, and it's not, people are saying, is the market still hot? Yes, it's hot. It's not as hot and as dramatic as last year, but it is still very much a seller's market.
Right. And people are a little bit more used to it now.
So true.
Too. So that is going to be number 2, educate on the market. Number 3, which really goes hand in hand with this, is discuss the market analysis and the seller's net sheet. So what we do when we meet with our listing and sellers clients is provide a in-depth and very specific market analysis so our sellers have an idea of what has sold recently, what are the comparable sales, how do they compare to my house, and really what are the stats that I need to know when it comes to pricing my home. And we give all of our suggestions and guidance and things like that when it comes to the pricing side through that market analysis.
And this is where we take the big picture market down to what is your home going to be worth, what do we think that it will sell for, and how are we going to strategize to hopefully develop multiple offers or bring in the strongest offer for you that meet the terms that you're desiring.
Yep, so we're going to go through that entire market analysis together, go through the photos, the stats of the comparable homes, how they compare to yours, so you have a very clear idea of that. And then we're also going to provide you with a seller's net sheet. This is one of our clients' favorite things.
Tell us more about the seller's net sheet.
It's also her favorite thing, as you can tell. It's basically a Excel or Google document that outlines the typical fees associated with selling. So therefore, our sellers can pop in, okay, we're expecting it to sell for this much based on that market analysis. this is maybe how much I owe, what's left on my mortgage. Here's some other fees associated with selling, and then it pops out what you'll actually walk away with, because that's what matters, is the equity that you've built in the home that you can then use to buy a new home or, achieve other goals as well.
Yes, and so that you're, again, educated on that, and we're taking it big, and now we're getting it into those fine, personalized, customized details for you. That makes sense. And then four. We still have 5, right?
Yes.
Oh, God. The next thing we'll do, we have even, okay, please, lots to go. Let me not get ahead of myself. The next thing that we'll do is to review your timeline based on the market. And now, here's something that's different, is if you haven't sold your home in 10 years, what we used to do back in the day when we first got into the real estate market was you would list your home and you would expect an average day on market to be pretty long. Now, we just discussed how it is down to 7 compared to, 46?
Yes.
So we are at this place where everything moves so much quicker. Now, there's some certain situations that you need to know about if you are entering in, and then one is delayed negotiations. And this is a way, when we're talking about reviewing timeline, to start to say, okay, if I am listing my home on this day, when am I going to expect to receive an offer, or what's that process going to look like? And you start deciding, well, how quickly, if I want to get an offer right away, this is when I'm going to list a house, as opposed to before, okay, if you're going to want to get an offer, average day on market's about 30 to 40 days, let's list 30 days sooner. It can move quickly. And based on your comparable market analysis, where you're starting to really understand how it works for your market, you're going to see, do I use delayed negotiations? And delayed negotiations means that you list on one day, you provide an opportunity for buyers to get in, and you delay reviewing offers until there has been adequate time on the market and adequate time exposed to the market, so that you don't have someone coming in, it gets listed at 9 a.m., someone comes in at 10 a.m., writes an offer, says it's good until 2 o'clock, and it hasn't really been exposed to the market. So delayed negotiations is something, as you're starting to think about timeline, is an important idea and concept and strategy to make sure that you're discussing.
And then from there, you really can identify, okay, well, let's say we want to be to our new home by this day. Let's work backwards and then identify when we want to list it. And we, of course, guide you through that. But identifying a timeline is really important, because the next thing we're going to talk about is preparing your home. And if you have a timeline, you then know, okay, well, we want to tackle this month, and then this month. And that's why it's really important to start that process early, so you can identify that timeline and we can work towards it. Now, what's really neat and new to this kind of crazy market is the opportunity where you as the seller are completely in the driver's seat. So when we list the home, you can say, my ideal closing date would be 30 days or 60 days or 90 days.
Yep.
You really are in the driver's seat to pick what you would like to do when it comes to the closing. We also have these new terms that have been added in the last few years called pre-possession and post-possession. Now, we have a whole Friday with Friends episode on this as well.
Well, they haven't been added. We're just actually really utilizing them more often than we used to, because we just never really needed them.
Never really needed them, but now as the seller having the opportunity to utilize them, they are being taken advantage of all the time.
All the time.
So a pre-possession is basically allowing the buyers to take possession of the home pre or before closing, while a post-possession is the seller remaining in the house after closing. So a lot of our sellers will do a standard closing with a few days rent back, so they have time to move out and move into the new house. It just provides a ton of flexibility, because at that point you've closed, the cash is in your pocket, and you have the flexibility with that rent back.
And you're also starting to think, if you want to be moving into a new build, or if you if you're still trying to figure out how long it's going to take you to find your next house, we're going to be able to say, based on our experience in this market, other sellers have found that we are getting multiple offers. And when we know your timeline, we're going to be able to say, with those multiple offers, we can negotiate you a 30-day rent back. We can negotiate you, didn't you have what's the longest rent back you've had?
I would say 4 months.
We can negotiate you a 4-month rent back. Now, that is not always the case, but it's something that if we're saying, hey, we're reviewing 2 different offers and one has a rent back that works for you, what is that worth for your family to not have to move you twice?
Right. And that happens a lot when you're building or buying and you need those proceeds, but you don't want to move twice. So that creates a really great opportunity. So there's lots of different ways with timeline that we can get creative to make it the best ideal situation for you. You might be sitting there thinking, well, gosh, when I bought my house, I just closed in 60 days.
Yeah, good old days.
The good old days. But now you're in the driver's seat, and you might not even know that we can create these amazing opportunities to make it, nice and easy on you, where you don't need to move twice and there's less stress.
And that's what it's all about.
Definitely.
Less stress. Okay, so the next key, if you are thinking about selling your home, is how are you going to prep your home? And during this initial consultation, where we're going through the house to be able to see the condition of your home, to see the layout, and to help really create this fine-tuned marketing analysis for you, we're also discussing what you need to do to prepare your house to bring it to market so that it is perceived in the best light to buyers.
Definitely. Our goal is to create the most amount of buyers possible for your home, creating a space that's neutral and move-in ready. So all of the buyers, whether they're handy or not handy at all, or whatever it might be, they come into the home and they see themselves there, because of course the more buyers, the more offers, the better the terms, the better the price, all of that good stuff. So
in 10 years ago, our lists looked a lot different than they do right now. Now, do not hear that we are saying you don't have to do anything, sellers. There will still be a few things that make such a difference. Fresh paint, touching up the baseboards, extra cleaning, maybe a few small things, but gone are the days where you have to do a full kitchen remodel in order to get your house to be competitive in a market. Again, you never know what the market's gonna look like, but majority of the time, this prep list is so much less because of this market.
Yep. Most of the times we find in this new market that it is, making the home decluttered, depersonalized with really a deep clean and touch-up paint and things like that. That really goes a long way. And so what we'll do is we'll create a list for you based on your home, based on the market, that says this is what we would recommend, and then we'll prioritize it for you. So while you're waiting and getting towards that timeline that we discussed, you can start breaking that list down, tackling it one by one, and you're not feeling overwhelmed at the end saying, gosh, I have to do all this to get my house ready, because you've already done it.
And this is why we say it's never too early to start, because if you reach out to us and you're a year in advance, maybe you actually want to sell in 2023, which is crazy to think about. But if that's when you want to sell, this is the perfect time to get that list. And yes, we don't know what the market will look like, but we can start with the priority list that in any market we would recommend you doing, and you can work through those.
And so often our clients say, okay, Abby, I've got my list. I know exactly what we need to do. And it's 10 items. And most of the time, it's just the top 3 that we need. And we never want our clients to overinvest or overspend when it's not necessary. So that's why talking with us before you do any work is very important as well, so we can create that list for you.
So true. So true. We have had people that make assumptions on all the things they need to do, and their time, talent, money, energy would have spent somewhere else and would have been better spent investing somewhere else.
Yep. Definitely.
Okay, so the next step is photograph your home. Again, in the same way, yes, all of the eyes are on you. There is limited inventory. Sellers or buyers want to come see your house, but that does not mean that we will allow non-professional photography in our listings.
Yeah.
We still need to show your home as beautiful as we can with as high end of photographs in order to make sure that your home is shining properly to the buyers.
Yep, it's so important. As you can imagine, again, gone are the days, as we've been saying, of your first showing being someone walking through the front door. Everything is online now, and so we want to create that first impression that a buyer loves, and they say, yes, I want to go look at that house, not, it looks a little dark, it looks a little gloomy, on to the next one. So it's really critical that we get these done. And a lot of our clients love to get the ball rolling on these, so it's one more thing that they can check off their list. If we've worked through your to-do list and you say, gosh, Abby, I know we're not ready to put the house on the market based on our timeline until the spring or until the summer, but it's March and the house is ready, we can always photograph your home, get that off of your plate, and then keep those in our back pocket until you're ready.
And it just makes the whole process super seamless and really smooth to be able to kind of work through that.
Yeah.
And the stat that we have here is 93% of buyers use online tools to get information about a house, and 87% of them use their real estate agent. So the key is these photos are showing up to people first. They are not doing that drive-by, and they need to look fantastic.
Definitely. Perfect.
What's the last step?
Last but not least,
we're finally there,
is list your home. So, of course, this is the fun part. With guidance from your realtor, we then create a game plan on how to list the home. This is important. It's not just pop it up on the MLS at any time. We want to identify, again, talk through that timeline. What is the average days on market? How can we really list it, maybe with or without that delayed negotiations, to make a splash and the biggest impact? So there's lots of things that we're looking at with this, like strategic showing plan, what day works the best, and things like that.
And the thing is when we think about these delayed negotiations, it's different in every market. It's different as we go through. One of the values of our team is because we have multiple agents and we're doing so many real estate transactions every single week, we have this real-time data that is coming into our team. So we can be able to say, okay, this 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath in Fairport went like this, and this is what happened to the Penfield house, and this is what happened in the Canandaigua market, where we are knowing what is happening so that we can say, hey, we got to do delayed on this one. Or hey, nope, I don't think we need to do delayed. Let's have this different strategy here. And that is so key when you're listing your home, to have all of that data.
Definitely. And again, based off of all of the stats and the data and your goals that we talked about, we'll create that listing game plan. Not only the when are we going to list the house and when are we going to review offers, but what is your schedule look like throughout that week? Do we need to do blocked showings, which is certain times throughout the day, maybe on Wednesday from 5 to 8, and then on Thursday 9 to noon? Or can we just leave it open? Are you going to be out of the house and we have, the ability to come through at any time? Would we prefer open houses? We're going to go through all of that together to identify what's important to you, but also with our expertise on what we know that it takes to sell the house.
And if you have a hot house or a house that we know is going to have a whole lot of showings, there could be showings from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. that it may be a conversation of, we recommend you get out of town this weekend. Just so it's one of those things where we can get the most amount of buyers through in the quickest amount of time to do delayed negotiations. And of course, we don't need 100 buyers through your home. 50 will do. So we don't need to have all of that time, but that very well has been situations with our clients where it just makes more sense for them to just allow us full access to the house to get all of the buyers through for one weekend, and then hopefully we'll be able to pick the best offer for you.
Yes, our sellers love when they take the long weekend, and then by the time they come home, their house is sold.
Yes, we got it all taken care of for them.
Yes.
All right, so that is what we are discussing when it comes to New Year, New Market Sellers Edition. So if you have selling on your radar, whether it's this year or next year, we hope this helped give you a little bit of perspective on what this new market looks like if it's been a while since you have thought about selling your home.
Yes, and of course, if you want to get the ball rolling with this, feel free to reach out. We can again start with that quick phone conversation and then eventually meet in person so we can identify your goals. And remember, how many times have we said it today? It's never too early to start the process.
Thanks for tuning in to Friday with Friends. Again, Friday with Friends is our opportunity to talk about the real estate market, answer any questions you may have, so that if you have any real estate needs, we would love the opportunity to be your realtor of choice. You can find us anywhere at Friend Team Real Estate on social media, friendonyourside.com, and of course, never hesitate to reach out.
All right, bye.